Hi there. This is another edition of the Honeymoon Traders. This is the highlights show on April 1st, 2020. And I'm here with my wife, Amanda.
Hello.
And I'd like to put out the disclaimer I am not a professional trader. This is for amusement purposes only. Trade at your own risk and do your own due diligence. Okay, so on I want to I'd like to show the trades of today. What happened, where a good entry point would have been, or where it is that money was made today. I think that's what a highlight show is showing where the good trades were, where the money was made, or potential money could have been made. And so what? But you think it's something different. You think it should be something different.
No, I agree with that. I just like to use language that's free of adjectives, and I don't like to talk about good trades. I like to talk about variables that align with certain expectations where you can conceivably take advantage of a situation in a brief period of time before the end of the day and make some profit on a trade. But you're looking for things that behave in a very similar way time and time again with respect to certain things, whether they're past experiences, and they all have these little words that you use. You have jargon for your trend lines, and you have your resistance, and you have language that you use. I like to decrypt the code and make it seem more relevant to people that are novices, because I'm a novice
Right.
and it
Well,
helps me to understand it.
right. Well, I try and do that on my other show. The
You say that no matter what show we're recording, you say, I try and do that on my other show. That's
Well,
like your
my highlight
default.
show, I want to show where the money was
Just
made, right?
show.
And the other show, I go through the what was prior today and what made it a down day, or what you were looking for and where it happened and why that happened. But it's hard to mix the two shows together, and in a 15-minute time frame where everybody can pay attention to what's going on. All right, so fine. Um, the first trade of the day. We'll make it. We'll do the first trade of the day starting at 9:30. It was a gap down day. It had gap down from a 254 down to 247. I believe it was, and so everybody was looking
Did that
for
all happen on the overnight, or did it
that
happen at the
happened.
end of
That
yesterday?
happened at all overnight.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the market started out much lower than it ended at the
That
end of
it ended
yesterday.
yesterday. So
Yes.
it was a gap down. And because of that big of a gap down, everybody was looking for some sort of a bounce, just to fill that gap. You know what? I mean, it's the terminology that these people use for trading.
I
All right,
think
so
now is a good time to let people know that there's a lot of activity when the first in the morning when the first bell goes off, and if you're not ready for that, you probably shouldn't even try and play with the rest of the day because it just gets ugly from there.
well, I
But anyway, go
well,
ahead.
I
Talk about
mean, yeah.
9:30.
So
Let's
all
hear what
right, nine
happened.
thirty. Obviously, we opened up. It was a gap down. We opened up near the overnight low. Um, Darn it. Overnight low was here, and we opened up here right at the overnight low. So,
248,
so
245. What is that? It's
that gave me an impression that it would because it opened and it didn't go lower than that since all overnight and in the morning, that we were looking for a bounce up. And so at 9:30, you could have bought a call option. We could have. I think the one that I got pointed out is the call, the 247 call. Let's see, the put.
call up. So you're expecting the market to move up, and you're going to buy a little option where you bet on the direction of the SPY.
Right. So,
And it would be, the terminology is like to buy a call.
yes, to buy a call. And and you see this huge gap down. I mean, yesterday it was a $12 option, and today it was all the way down to $3, $3 or two something.
Right. So the
Uh,
options have a much more dramatic impact or effect on the options market as a result of those rises and falls. It affects the options to a greater extent in terms of price than it does the actual price of the stock.
Yeah.
So the difference between the high and the low on the stock price isn't quite as great as the difference between the high and the low on the options price when you see those drops. Their effect is greater.
All right, but that has nothing. Yes, but it was such a gap down that it closed yesterday at this and it at this level at the $10 level, and it opened today at this level.
Mm-hmm.
This level being
all right. So 9:30. The what is this? The 247 option. The pull.
The 247 put.
Call.
Yeah. The call. The 247 call. Correct.
Yes.
And at 9:30, it was trading at $3.22.
All right. So if you bought that at 9:30,
9:30, like we saw on the chart, bought that.
Buy 100 of them. You can't buy less than 100. So $320
no.
worth.
One option is 100 contracts. It's that contract is worth 100.
Yes.
Let's just keep it. It's just one option that you bought.
Okay, but it costs $322 to buy a 322.
Correct. The $3.22 option would have been $322.
All right.
Okay.
Very
correct.
Good.
Yes. And so by what did we say? By 11:15. 9:30 is over here, and by 11 o'clock, between 11 o'clock and 11:15, 11:15 and around 11:15, it hit the overnight high. So we started from the overnight low to the overnight high, and I say overnight. Actually, I don't mean overnight because it gapped down. This is approximately where it went up to today since the 4 a.m. hour. Okay.
All right.
And we were approaching the downward trend line. So, we had a gap down, then we had, we try and fill in the gap with this all the way from 9:30 to 11:15, because of a bounce. And by 11:15, you should have noticed that it came up on a resistance point. So back to the call.
And we'll start looking at
your 247 call.
Right. We'll look at everything from 10:45 to 11:15 this morning. All of those are opportunities to make money on that put. Yes. I mean, on that call.
So it was 322 at 9:30, and then by 11:15,
that's 10. That's 10:15.
Okay. I'm sorry. By
10:45 is where you want to look, from 10:45 to 11:15.
It was 11:15. Okay. 11:15.
11:05.
Yeah. Okay. 11:05. It was a five. It was up to that option was up to $5, $5.10 or whatever this was. Okay. So by 11:10, sometime before 11:15, you should have been out of that option, and you would have gone from your 322 up to $5, or anywhere between $4.50 and $5.
Right. So opportunity to make $100 in a couple of hours.
Yeah, 322, 422, 522. It would have been. It would have been maximized around $200 for your one trade.
I'm happy to make any money like in the $100 range.
Okay.
Because you don't know what it's doing enough. You just got to take the opportunity to profit from it. I mean.
All right. So that was the first trade. The second trade started at 11:15. I call these sleeper trades because they kind of sneak up on you, because for one, you had the bounce and it was going up and it was going up. And then, you hit the resistance. But if you don't know these levels, you kind of think, oh, it's going to keep going up or something. And a lot of people, buy, if they get the fear of missing out. And so they, a lot of people, I did this a lot in my life, so I know. You feel that because it kept going up, that it's going to keep going up, not understanding, okay, you're at a trend, your divergence on your positive and negative DMIs and your trend line is showing you a different story. It's showing you that this market is going to go down from this point on. And so the second trade would have been like your 11:15 to
And now this is a put. This is
is a
referring
put.
to
This is
buying
a
a
short.
put.
So you,
Yeah,
you
short.
should have shorted up here after you sold your call. You should have shorted up
An
here.
opportunity arises
Right, from
where one might want
11:15
to short here.
11:15 to 1 o'clock. Okay, and that one would have been a 251. We were at the 251 level up here. So the 251 put at 11 o'clock. Let's see how much that was worth. So your 215 put, or I'm sorry, 11:15 251 put was worth $1.85.
So
Okay.
$180 then.
$180, correct. By 1 o'clock, it was worth $5.40. That was definitely the trade of the day.
Definitely the trade of the day.
Yes. And like I said, it's one of those sleeper ones, where you just keep thinking it's going to turn direction because it bounced this morning.
All right, stop saying that. That is not how you. I mean,
Okay.
That's not helpful. What you want to identify is that the number of people buying this stock really started dropping. I mean, the sellers.
Yes.
The sellers jumped in. They, there were a lot of them.
And if you knew that that was a good opportunity to short, if you could have gotten in at 185 and gotten out by 1 o'clock at the $5 level. That was definitely worth it, right?
So it's the trade of the day, and it's a perfect example of why you need more information than just the history of a stock in order to buy anything in the options. I mean, stay away from the options if all you're doing is looking at the history of a stock.
I totally missed this one. I mean, like I was doing other things, and I wasn't, and it takes a long time to know when to shorten. I mean, the entry points are very important, and so. I mean, I could have entered this at any time between 11 and 11:15 and 1 o'clock, and I would have been making money. At any time in that time period, I would have been like.
No, and it is unusual for two back-to-back opportunities to present themselves, but we are still before noon on the trade day, and I will say this all the time, but the activity and the opportunities are before noon. All the people that make the money that move these stocks, they're all done for the day at noon. I believe it with all my heart. Banker's hours, man.
Yeah, and actually, I didn't show you this, but if you would have kept it till the end of the day.
Don't ever do that.
But hold on.
Don't ever do that.
If you would have really been gutsy and kept it till the end of the day, it went as high as $7.
No,
but
no way to know.
Everybody would have been happy
only.
from 150 to $5. Yes, okay. So the last trade I want to show you guys real quick before we get out of time is at the end of the day.
This is not a real trade. This is a sneaker.
It is a sneaker, but it just shows you how fast time and money trade. If you're not on the ball. Why can't I get this zoomed out?
All right. At the end of the day, this stock plummeted. And
no. At the end of the day, we had a rally for like a brief from 3:45 to to 4 o'clock.
All right, and 15 minutes, you can't do anything, but somebody did. Somebody made money.
It went from $1.47 to $3.50. I can't zoom it. I can't zoom out. Here we go. Can I do it? No. Anyway, the price levels from 147, 150 to 350 in a quick 10 minutes. In a quick 10 minutes. So.
Thanks for listening.
So, thanks for listening. Those are our highlights, and we thank you for watching us, and I hope you enjoy these videos and learn from it like we do. Have a good night.
Good night.
We'll see you tomorrow.